of the bands I've ever done is, of course, I want people to like it, but if they don't, I'm not going to get all bent out of shape or stop doing it. I just love singing and playing, and I hope that the people that do enjoy it will, keep enjoying it. And I feel bad for those people that don't like it. Same as those people that said that about you, because I don't know what that says about their taste.
Well, quite right.
I can't say.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Absolutely. And well, as for loving what you do, the new EP. That's I'm really. I mean, first of all, a bunch of opinions coming at you. Second track, just like pure hip hop. Boom! That was like, that's bold. That's literally like getting your dick out and going, yeah. Huh? Track 2. You've been waiting all these years for new music, and the second track is a hip hop track. Fuck you. We'll do what we like.
Well, what happened was I was inspired by Sean Killian, actually, when we did the benefit for Sean when he was ill. I had to learn and sing some violent songs, and his cadence, his schemes, his flow, it reminded me a lot of, or actually what I was hearing on trap music at the time, because my son was playing it and he was making beats and doing all this kind of stuff. And so I heard it a lot, and I was like, man, these motherfuckers are just singing like, or rapping with the flow of Sean Killian. And that gave me the idea to do that track. And my son Harley's like, well, you need me to make you a beat for that, right? So I was like, yes, please, make the beat. So that was a collaboration with my boy. And the thing is that I wanted the lyrics to be more of a hard, socially aware kind of thing. And it's no sort of wink or nod to like what's going on in, kind of that style of music right now, which is just, a lot of self-glorification and like, that kind of thing. I was trying to be from a totally different direction, just kind of hard social commentary kind of thing. And I got to use my favorite word, kakistocracy.
Right.
And that's very rare that you can fit that in a song. You know that, I'm sure.
And what is a hackistocracy?
What is kakistocracy? It is governance by the worst possible humans. So we went from an oligarchy in America to a kakistocracy on November 3rd, 2016.
Right. Okay. Got you. So,
epistemic autocracy. These are things that you can rarely throw into a song. So I don't want to dwell too much on it. I love it. I hope other people like it. But the funny thing is, you're the first person that's even mentioned it. And I've done a bunch of interviews. So everyone just kind of skips right over even talking about it. They're like, so track 1, and then they go straight to track 3 and track 4. And I'm like, I don't bring it up or anything, but they're like trying to ignore the elephant in the room.
It's the first song I bring up. Well, there you go. That's why
Thank you, H.
Yeah,
asking the tough questions that everyone's afraid to ask these questions, but you, H. Thank you for that.
Right. But do you know what? I also guess it's because I'm in a band myself as well. So being in a band, it gives you a different kind of, because like being in a band, second track in, I'm like, interesting. So I think there's that as well. I mean, sometimes I've just listened to an album. I've just got an advance of an album of a band I know, and I've listened to it, and I'm like, there is some interesting artistic decisions that have been made there. And
H, wait till the record comes out. You're going to hear some more interesting artistic misdirections.
Look, I hope so. I mean, I really like the EP. I really do like the EP. First time I listened to it, I was like, okay, right. Now I know what it is. I can listen to it. again, you know, it's almost like you know, watching a movie for a second time that, you know, that's got a twist in it. It's like you're going to enjoy it even more the second time because now you know what happens. You can pick up on all the stuff that you missed the first time. And so I had that whole vibe going on. And I'm basically, it's one of those things that I liked. I like it more than I realized I did, because what I did was I played it a few times, and then there was like I got a few albums came in, and I was listening to them and stuff, and I found myself humming some of the melodies, and I was thinking, what is that? I was like, that's Mordred. Oh, yeah. And it was like, and I've kept coming. It's kept, basically what I'm saying is it's kept me coming back, and I feel like, you know.
Would you say that it sort of grows on you like a fungus would? Sort of
More like a cancer.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that.
Well, hey, look, you know, virus. You're the one trying to, like, you know.
Thinking like I'm thinking something like moss or like fungus or something. You go straight to cancer.
Well,
oh man.
Yeah. I bypassed COVID, the whole thing, didn't I? I just went straight to.
Yeah, we're done with that.
Yeah, the old C. Yeah, no. So I like the EP. It's quite different sounding in places. It's kind of different sounding in places. Was it recorded were you doing a song a day in different places, or have you deliberately kind of gone for? It's not a uniform mix, is what I'm kind of saying. There's you know, each song has a very different kind of feel and sound.
Yeah, that's no, we recorded most of the stuff. We did all the basic tracks at once, and then we did some overdubs over some time. Took us quite a while to get it all done, actually. Right. And so there will be and we had two different guys mixing the record too. So Matt Winiger did the "Not For You" song. And he did a couple of other songs on the LP. And then our other good buddy did the rest for us. And I don't know what to say, man. I just
no, it's cool. I like it.
Shit is out.
No.
I'm really happy that it's out, and it took us forever to get it how we wanted it, and we finally did. And now I can sit back and kind of be, you know, proud of it, and you know, I'm just very happy with how it all turned out. And
yeah, you should be.
The LP itself is going to be a little bit more on the heavy side, because although we were more kind of nostalgic for the Fool's Game kind of era, so we didn't write songs exactly like that era. They're quite different, but we do use a lot of the same Mordred kind of tricks that we always have. You know, all the kind of little things we do, the little sprinkles of this and little bits of that. But man, I'm so happy that we're finally putting all this stuff out.
Yeah, man. I mean,
it was a long road.
Well, that's interesting that you've all found yourself in that place. That you've all sort of found yourselves, you know, more nostalgic for the Fool's Game era than anything else.
Yeah.
That's amazing. After all these years, that you find yourselves on the same page, going like, yeah, that's kind of, you know, that's what we want to do. That must have been a really good, solid base to work from.
Well, yeah. What it meant really is that we just based everything out of, you know, more of the heavy foundations, you know, and whatever kind of style we might explore in addition to having the heavy foundation, it was always locked down solid to the ground with, you know, with some serious guitar chunk.
Yeah, damn straight. So you come back with an EP. You got an EP and an album. I mean, and you said like the EP took a long time.
You're wondering how that happened. How did we decide to do that?
Yes, well, if I know anything about the music business, I would imagine life got in the way and something happened that meant that you know, this is how it's ended up.
Well, what happened was we recorded a bunch of songs. We never timed any of them, right? You following me?
Right.
So we drop them all off at the mastering lab guy, and we're like, all right, we're ready to do, you know, make one for vinyl and one for CDs. You know how you do. they come back with their 2 mixes and whatnot. And so he gives us a call like a day or so in, and he goes, you've got like an album and a half worth of material here. What do you want me to do with this? So we're, you know, of course, the first thing is, we better start cutting some songs off this record. Let's have this one, this one, this one. So it's like, actually, let's not cut the songs. Let's make an EP. And everyone's just like, oh my God, that's brilliant. Let's do that. So that's how we ended up. It's basically 3 sides to one record. And the EP songs may be the ones on the fringe of being a little bit different, kind of our style of EPs. We get more experimental on the EP and kind of keep it a little more straight ahead on the album itself. So we stripped down the album, took 4 songs off, made an EP, and here we are. And thanks for having me.
Brilliant. Right. That I did not expect. That was, and clearly neither did you guys. No,
I was like, we were dealing with all this other kind of stuff, like, oh shit, we're putting out the record, we better copyright it, right? We better, there's all these steps you got to do, right? And of course, we wait till the last minute to do everything. Let's do a publishing company. Okay, but let's do it like right before the record's going to come out. Okay, so all that kind of happens. So on top of that, then the mastering guy's like, yeah, you got way too many songs. So what's the order of the songs first? So we had the order of the songs, and it was great and everything. And shit, if it was just a CD, we could have done it all as one thing and it would have been fine. But because we did it on a vinyl, you can only do certain length before it starts sounding whack or it just won't fit. So, man, it was an easy thing. Once people started cutting the songs, I was like, no, we can't cut any of these songs. We need to keep them all out. And I talked everyone into just doing an EP.
That's cool, man. Well,
that's the story, man. I mean, it's not that exciting, but our problem is like we really just didn't time any of this stuff.
I think that is beautifully naive for a bunch of guys who've been around the block long enough to know to be like on the ball, getting shit copyrighted, and everything else. Yeah, and then nobody going, there's a lot of stuff here. I wonder if they can actually fit this on a record. I think that's brilliant.
Well, I don't know, man. We're just we're crazy, man. I don't know why we even do this stuff.
that is basically, that means there is 5, like pure 5 musicians in the band, because everybody was all over the music and all the rest of it and everything. And it's like, when it comes to stuff like that, there's usually somebody hovering around the band somewhere who asks the questions like, weeks in advance. Yeah. Oh, how long is it coming in at? And only have you thought about a track listing yet? And 16 songs, right? Okay, well, have you thought that? It's like, no, let's just write it and get it done.
Well, in many other ways, we're very, very organized and everything. It just was, this was just kind of an oversight. We didn't realize how much we had. But really, as far as like the other stuff goes, we just kind of threw it together at the last minute, but it's all done and it worked out. We've done it before, so we knew how to do it again. But yeah, I mean, what are we doing here? We're just winging it.
Exactly. I mean, and it's a happy oversight as well. I mean, it's not like it's a problem. You've got an EP out of it. I haven't seen any announcement on album title yet. Is that right? Or have I just not seen it? Have you announced the album?
Oh, the album title will be The Dark Parade.
Right. Okay.
Imagine it being a parade, but dark parade.
Yeah. Not a black parade then.
No, just dark.
Right, just dark. Okay.
We're all included, and it's not. When I say a dark parade, I mean it's Twilight, man. It has nothing to do with like how anybody looks. It's just like, we're evil. It's Twilight. God damn it.
Nice.
Right? Yeah, it's kind of, it's funny. We went with themes on the record that are kind of like the robber baron era of America, and manifest destiny themes, and you know, there's a lot in history that's repeating itself now, and we were comfortable talking about things in a historical manner that might still be current in some way. As far as that, and you know, the Dark Parade kind of goes along with that, because you know, at that time there were lots of little dark carnivals, circuses, and parades with freaks abound, and we sort of are akin to that with our Mordred Freak Show. And the 5 musicians that you spoke of, they were great, and I'm just so lucky that they let me hang out with them, because it's nice. Get to sing over some of their stuff there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And you are doing some very cool things on the EP. One song in particular, and I apologize for not having the song title to hand. I'm scrolling through my phone.
Just say a word or two. I'll know what song you're talking about.
I'm trying to. Well, I'm actually trying to think that it might be
The Love of Money.
Yeah. Where you basically you're kind of, it kind of doesn't scan. You're kind of just sort of rolling around over the top of it. It's unique, man. I absolutely love it. I mean, it fascinates me every time I hear it, because I think, Jesus Christ, the way I could do that.
What? You could do it. Come on. A thing about that song was that I was trying to come at it from the perspective of you actually truly love a woman, and her name is Money. But actually, it's for those that love money with the kind of love that you would love a woman. And that's sort of the twist, or you know, that's kind of where I was going with it. But the way I was singing it, I kind of was vibing off of, like, you know, some Phil and Knott kind of channeling. That's what I was feeling. But of course, you know, nobody could sound like Phil except for Phil. But you know, I was kind of channeling there.
Yeah, no, it stood out for me. It stood out for me as a real, just like vocally, you know, as a fellow vocalist, it just stood out for me as something that was just really unique. And funnily enough, I was.
Well, thank you.
And funnily enough, but you're welcome. I was up staying. I went to see my mum for the first time in 6 months, because she's been, like, you know, isolating, and I was up there last week, and I was playing some tunes, and I played a your EP, and
What did Mom think?
well, what mom said was that that particular song, actually, and that particular vocal, she said, I love what he's doing on this song, she said.
Thank you, Mom.
And I said, yeah, and he's got, and I said, he's got a very unique voice, and she said, yes, very adaptable, you know. So there you go.
Thank you so much, Mom. I appreciate what you said there. And it's encouraging words like that keep me going.
Exactly. Well, yeah. If she said those nice things to me occasionally, it'd be great. I'll play the podcast as well, so she will get to hear that. I promise you. So when it comes, how long have you been working on the album? Because that's, like, you know.
God.
Yeah.
I think we started our basic tracks on it in 2014 or 15.
Oh, right.
We'll just say 2015.
Right. Okay. So you've really rushed it out then.
Yeah. So we just had to get it out as quickly as possible, because we just had to. Now, what happened was we recorded even more songs than what we used, and we wrote way more songs that we didn't record, and there was all this. We finally got to where we were at, and then, of course, there was just, Mordred is not just an easy setup and then you play the songs and it's all done for a record. There's a lot of overdubs that go on. Paz has his own studio. We go over there to lay all his stuff down. We did all my vocals at my place with Danny's computer, and we did all his guitars. He did a lot of his stuff at home. So we just do our basic tracks in the studio, and then everyone kind of does their tracks individually. It takes a long ass time. If we had like a bunch of time allotted in a studio, like back in the old days, then we could have probably done it in like 3 years instead of 5.
Right.
But, it takes a minute. And then it took us like 6 months to mix it.
Yeah.
Because, we were in a hurry.
Yeah, but
we wanted to make sure we got it out right in time for a pandemic. So the only way you could see us play is by tuning in to Mordred Acting a Fool, Part 2.
Yes.
8 p.m. UK time on August 1st.
Don't worry. We'll get to that. Okay. Do you think was there any point where you got a bit disheartened with the process? I mean,
yes, there were many points that you feel like I've been working on this so long and so long and so long, and we have all these obstacles we still have to get over to finish it up. It's you hit the nail on the head with that question, and yes, my answer is yes.
Yeah, because that's the kind of danger as well, as when it's the luxury of being artists just being able to work on something at their leisure. That's great, but without commerce to drive it, to say, it needs to be ready by then, motherfucker.
You're absolutely right. We just
you lose focus.
But, I honestly think, though, it's a better record because we have the time to do it, and we didn't have that kind of pressure. But like, as you said, though, there are times when you get the feeling like, is this ever going to actually, work? I've put so much of my life into this, so many hours of my day and my months of my life.
Oh, man.
It's like, so, but the thing is that's different with Mordred than has been with other groups that I've played with over the years, is that every single person in this group is so dedicated to what they do and is down to do whatever it takes to make whatever we're doing happen. And that I've had other bands where it's been like that to a certain degree, but it's never been like it has been with this band. So we have our personalities and we have our communications and all these things, but at the end of the day, these guys are like my family members, like my brothers, and we all put in the necessary work to make things happen without ever complaining. And that's what I really appreciate about this particular gang of fools that I'm currently and have a long time history with here, of which I am one. I am one.
I saw what you did there. A gang of fools. Fools get. Yeah, very good. But the thing is, though, after all those years, that it's going to be a case of there are going to be times, there are going to be dark times, there are going to be people going to be like, oh, how's the album going? And you'd be and like just the very question makes you go, oh, just like to leave it, just fuck off. And there's like people around you are like, somebody goes to ask you how the album's coming along and someone else is like, don't ask him. Dude, shh. Yeah, or somebody says it and everyone else goes, oh, you idiot.
God. Yeah. No, people stopped asking us a while back if we were still making a record. So I think
it happens because they start thinking you're full of shit. They're like that. Fuck those guys.
And then when it finally comes out, we've been working on it 5 years. Everyone's so surprised. They're like, "Oh shit, you guys did another record? Holy shit!" Like, yep.
Actually, they'll be like, "Wow, you guys did another record?" Yeah, no. It's the same one. This is the one. It's like, oh, this is the same one as like 5 years ago. Yeah.
You see the importance of putting out an EP first, though. Now is it all making sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Here, have some music. Christ, yeah. Well, it's just awesome to get it done. I know the feeling as well. You know, first album in 29 years last year. It's like, it's an
Yeah,
amazing.
congratulations on your record. It's
Oh,
dope as
thank you.
fuck. And
Oh, thank you, man.
we
Thank
we
you.
have the same artist for the front covers, don't we?
We don't know. We
Oh,
had
we don't.
no, we had Mark Wilkinson, who did
Oh,
Marillion.
dude.
He did Iron Maiden, Book of Souls. He did Judas Priest and Acid Rain. So it's a bit like New York, Paris, Peckham. You know, you got those two, and then us stinking up the place. But no, I mean,
Okay,
Andy's
it
done
looked a lot like his work, so I just figured it was. But Jesus Christ, that's a
Yeah.
fucking awesome cover. I love
Thanks,
it.
man. Oh, thanks, man. Because it's definitely one of those covers where people either go like, either your reaction or, oh my God, that is fucking horrendous. That's terrible. and yeah, and we do get those, and that's absolutely fine. You know, the last thing you want is people going, it's okay.
Yeah,
No, it's you know, it's like
yeah.
if you want a reaction, I want either like, I want passionate love or violent hate.
Yes, and I think that we are in total agreement with that. And I think we both share a couple of qualities in the way we sing, the way we don't really give a fuck if people don't like the way we sing, and then we continue to sing, and some sort of strange joy we get from people reacting in such a way as to, like, you know, be appalled by our singing. I think that it actually, it's just as, it's not quite as fulfilling, but it's certainly more amusing. And I don't shy away from any of that kind of stuff.
No,
As you don't either. And
yeah,
you are a great singer, and you are a unique singer. And I appreciate what you do, brother. I don't care what anyone says about you, man. I love you, brother.
Well, look, I'm right back at you, honey. I mean, as if I hadn't said how much I love your vocals enough. But no, well, look, something that just occurred to me was, when you're when you're recording, do you find now that you've got more control over your voice? You've got more. I mean, I find if anything, I would think I might have more range, not less range. I think I might have actually more range now, because I actually know what I'm doing. I'm not, before the last album came out. I mean, I was a 20-year-old kid when I recorded my last album, and then I was a 48-year-old man when I recorded the follow-up.
Yep.
And the difference is night and day.
I have to say I totally agree with that. I was not sure I could still sing in the Mordred voices, as I haven't really had that. In any of the projects I've done since Mordred, I haven't used the haunting high-pitched vocals that I use with Mordred, only on the lower side. So when I got back in and started doing it, it took me a minute to get back there. But once I realized how to do it and how to use this big muscle that I got right there, the diaphragm. That's the diaphragm. Extremely huge diaphragm.
One's diaphragm, one's the
air. Yeah, I mean, it pushes the air and allows, like you said, it allows the range. And I definitely have a bigger range than I did, because my range starts really low. And then I could go pretty high considering how low I start. So it's a pretty big range. It's just, it's not that high of a range. As high as I am, I can't sing that high.
Well, I actually went for some for some singing lessons after we'd done the album. When we were going to go away on tour, I was like, right, of which we've only ever done 4 fucking dates, but that's another story. I thought I need to get some singing lessons in, because I'm much more capable in the studio, but doing it live that's another animal as well. I don't want people to know, you can't do it.
Well, you know what I can say about your live show and everything is that, sure, in the studio you can have, you're not jumping around, you're not moving constantly. Exactly, myself, you don't stop moving. You don't stand there and strike a pose for more than a couple seconds. You're always on the go. And I love that about you, brother, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much.
I do. But that presents its own sort of challenge, which, you know, I don't know if you've ever heard Madonna or Britney Spears, a recording of them live. They back up their off
Yeah.
and all that. And then sometimes the audio engineer records them and they're just like off key and just terrible. And the fact that you can sing with the amount of energy that you put out at your age, mind you,
Hey.
and still hit the notes and do everything, that's actually pretty fucking amazing.
Oh,
And,
thanks, man.
you know, it should be known, and a lot of people don't understand that there is that aspect going on right there. And
well,
y'all should appreciate Mr. H in the Last Rain there.
Oh, that's very kind. That's very well. But I went to see the singing teacher, and she really quickly managed to. I mean, I haven't been for lessons for over 20 years, 25 years probably. And she was like, right, okay, so you're basically self-taught. And I was like, well, I had some lessons 25 years ago. She's like, no, you're self-taught. So we talked a bit. I sang a bit, and straight away she noticed a habit that I developed, which is like possibly the worst habit you can possibly develop doing what I do, as you've just described. What I was doing was I was taking a breath, and then I would sing until I had no breath left, and then I would grab a breath somewhere, wherever that might be, and go again. So you know, I was knackering my throat, and I was just, you know, as I'm tailing off the breath, you know.
Wait, you're not supposed to do that?
Yeah. Well, apparently not. You know, so it's like, yeah. I was telling our guitarist, and he was like, who sings a bit himself, and he was like, I was like, oh, so and so song's really difficult to sing. And he was like, why? And I was like, there's hardly any breaths in it. And he was like, there's one after every phrase. And I was like, yeah, I realise that now. He was like, were you trying to sing that? Were you trying to sing the whole thing in one breath? I was like, no.
Oh, H.
So
now you got me thinking. I got practice on Wednesday. I'm gonna have to start looking into that, because I do the exact goddamn thing, man.
Really?
Oftentimes I appreciate that they think that there's a breath here and there, but oftentimes in the Mordred songs, it's like, tongue like a rusty razor, took in your chop with eyes that seem so pure, walk like a dusty soldier proud and sure, with the metal of his body's heart, worse than the animal, the otter sneeze. You know, it's like, it's rarely a spot where you could really get a hold on, so you can.
Yeah, man. It's tough, but it kind of changed my approach to how to sing it, because you know, is looking at it in manageable chunks and seeing where the breaths are, instead of, you know, just, you know, hoping for the best. And the thing is as well, is as you're trailing off, as you're trailing off, you know, the less breath you have, the less you're supporting your voice, the harder your voice is having to work. You're gonna wear your voice out. So, also, you know, your voice is not used to being supported, because when you sing with that full lung, when you're singing with your full lungs, that's when your voice is fully supported, and then for the rest of the time, it's just a decreasing, you know, in support. So you're not getting the best out of it, apart from that at the very beginning.
One thing I learned years ago, I took lessons from an opera singer, Nikolai Massenkoff, and I only did maybe like maybe 10 lessons with the dude, but he was a big baritone opera singing Russian dude. And that's where I think I really kind of learned about the diaphragm, because he could belt that shit out. And he was like, he's looking at me, and I could imitate him, because I got the ear, and I could make my voice, you know, whatever. But he was like, wait a minute, man. Yeah, you can hear it and you can tell where to place it, but do you really want to be like, you got to push it from your gut. stand
Yeah.
up right
Yeah.
there. Boom. And so I learned pretty early on with that. And that kind of helps with the breath thing that you're talking about, is that you're pushing full volume. You're like a bagpipe, kind of. Think of your diaphragm as the thing on the bagpipe. Now you still got to blow into it. You still got to take your breath and everything, but you're getting your push from out of your diaphragm.
Well,
So
I am starting to see a lot, even more similarities between ourselves, because the singing lessons I had years ago, and I only had 5 or 6, was with a female
that's
opera
all you
teacher.
need.
The female opera teacher, and
Oh yeah.
and she taught me all about the diaphragm and all the rest
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, and you know what? For opera singing, that was great. But I found out just before we went away on tour, when I went to see somebody who is, 25 years on, when we know a little bit more, I've been trying to sing in an opera style rock music. And what I need to do is support, and as she said, you need to be taking lungs full of air, not a belly full of air, not a diaphragm full of air. You need to be filling up through your lungs. And as long as you're full of air, and that's supporting the voice, you are good. You do not need to be, touching your belly or pushing your belly out or doing anything, anything like that. And I was like, right, okay, this is interesting, because this is not what. And again, she said, right, now I understand why you were holding your breath so long, because in opera, invariably, it's all about diaphragm, banging lines out all the time. Every one of them at, like, the volume to fill a room. That's not what.
Right.
That's not what you need to be doing. That's not. So yeah, I had like 4 or 5 lessons with this woman. Totally opened my eyes. And I'm definitely going to go back and see when after the pandemic. I believe she's still with us. But yeah, and I've actually found it really, really inspiring to, like, I just really, yeah, enjoying my vocals. I was actually looking for songs to set instead of dreading them. And I think that's like the best way of describing what I've got out of it. Actually looking forward to songs instead of dreading them. Right, yeah, come on, bring it on. I can't wait to sing this one because I've got the fucking tools.
Yeah, man. Well, shit, man. I'm gonna try some breathing techniques now. If you're so happy about it, it's got to be good, man. I just figured just let it rip.
Oh, mate, I'll tell you what. I will send you. She's on YouTube. She's one of these vocal teachers who does critiques like rock music and folk music, and but it's always singers. And she does these reaction videos.
Do I dare?
and I really liked her stuff. So I saw that she did singing lessons, and she's in London, so that's how I hooked up with her. But I'll send you her details. She does them over Skype as well and stuff like that. And do one and see what you think.
Yeah, I could use a little help right now, H. You know it.
mate, I'm not saying that at all.
Hey, I'm not saying you're saying. I'm just saying I'm agreeing. I'm right there. What it is this. We're joking around and we're having fun. But really, I love to learn anything that I can that would be helpful in doing the thing that I love most to do. I mean, this is what I've always loved to do. And if you got some kind of insight or a little technique that's good, it's like even the same way when I learn about some trick about how to do some carpentry, or I learn how to do, some trade, some task in some trade that, and, someone's got the shortcut and this is how you do it. And you can do it all day this way. I get excited about learning stuff and this is no different. And let's face it, we fucking love doing what we're doing. And I could tell that you're having a really good time doing Acid Rain again. And I'm so happy for you, brother. Oh, yeah. And that it's like, this is like this really is a really fucking great time in our lives. And I know it sucks that we're kind of under the quarantine, But I watch your videos of you doing all the silly stuff, and I love that video you guys made
Oh, with
with
Suzanne
Suzanne
Vega.
Vega. Yeah, and dude, so that was sort of an inspiration for us to even do our comedy thing, because let's face it, we weren't comedians coming into this, but your inspiration on the comedy side has opened our eyes to what is possible.
Oh, that's
And
cool, man.
it's
Thank you.
cool, dude. Yes.
Thank you very much. Well, look, that is an ideal place to leave things, but for now, because don't go anywhere, I've got some subscriber questions for you. But for now,
I was about to leave, man. What do you mean? I can't go nowhere? Oh, I'm
so
on lockdown.
for now and for now only, Scott, thank you very much.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Absolutely. Do you want me to hang on?
Yeah, absolutely. Because what I'm going to do, hang on a second. Right, I'm just exporting the file.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just exporting that file, the main interview. Then now we're going to do some subscriber questions. These are basically subscribers to Patreon who know that I say, right, okay.
I'm sorry, H. You're cutting out on your audio.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, your audio is doing the digital freak out thing.
Ah, right. Okay. I know why that is. Okay. Good.
Yes. Very good. Your kung fu is most impressive. We good? You sound perfect now.
Right, we're good now. Are we good now?
I thought you were giving me sign language.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Yeah. No, basically that was because I was exporting a file.
Ah.
And clearly the system didn't like it. So
the system rarely does.
Monsieur Holderby,
Yeah.
I have some questions. I have some questions for you. These are from my patrons who like the podcast and like Acid Rain and stuff like that. And I've told them that I'm going to be interviewing you, and they've gone, right, okay, let's get some questions.
People of a higher caliber and of good taste is what you're saying.
Well, those cool kind of people who actually hand money over.
Yes.
We
love you. Thank you for doing that, by the way.
Exactly, because this is how we exist, is like people like these helping us out. So here we go. Right. First question is from you're gonna love these questions because they're always great from my patrons. Don't let me down, you cunts. Right, here we go. First one is
this is from your ex-girlfriend, and she'd like to know.
That's it. Yeah. On the tour in this life, you impregnated me in Germany. And let's face it, nobody wants to get impregnated in Germany. Robbie Maguire says the recent Acting the Fool lockdown events brought together music, comedy, interviews, burlesque, etc. How did the idea of a multi-art show come about? Obviously, being in lockdown was a big part. Rip Acid Rain. Next question.
How did that all come about? We were just going to do a live show, and the producer said, that's going to be boring, just doing music. Why don't you think about doing some comedy and some skits and some stuff like that? And I'm like, okay. And we just took it and we ran with it. And we really, really got into it. We didn't think we could do it, but we tried, and we kind of did it. Seemed pretty good, I thought. And as far as we just wanted to present more of a variety kind of show, with the burlesque and with the comedy and everything. That's really essentially it.
Right. Okay.
Got the idea and we
Well,
ran with it.
yeah, and well, it's different. Well, the follow-up question is this the kind of event that there may be more of in the future?
Definitely. Yeah, we have another one coming up on August 1st, and we're doing a bunch of shooting for it this week. So, indeed, we plan on doing this until we run out of Mordred songs, basically.
Well, he's a man. He's a man who's looking into the future on your behalf.
Very good.
What
And
were
yes,
the
we could use
problems?
the Patreons as well.
Yeah. What were the problems and the positives in putting these shows on, be it both people online or with people in attendance?
Well, the problems are all on the technical side for the most part. And then, we luckily have such a amazing crew that's doing the work for us, that they come together and figure out these issues. And it's a very small crew. It's just a sound man, a light man, a producer that edits on the fly, and one cameraman. And then we have like a stage manager, and then that's it, just us in the room. So we have to do all these things under basically under the quarantine. We can't, I like I said, I play in a band with an 87-year-old lady, and it's my mom, and it's very important that I don't bring back any kind of thing for anybody, keep my bugs to myself and kind of thing. So with everything we do, we got to be safe about it. So that brings us to like what is also the problem, is that it's tough to gather up the strength, because when you play live, you're in a way transferring energy from the audience that fuels you. I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. That fuels you to go to another level of maybe energy that you have to sort of just muster on your own in in the studio and everything. But when you have the knowledge that there's actually people out there watching, it kind of gives you that vibe, that high, that feeling of doing a live show. And it's the best that we can do right now with what we're given. And I honestly love doing the show so much. It occupies my time. We're constantly writing and recording and filming and doing all sorts of things in and around this thing. So being that it's occupying my time during a time when everything is shut down, and we are able to kind of express and fulfill that feeling that we do because we have to, not because we want to, that we have to get this expression out, and we have to express what's going on, our own feelings and the feelings of those around us that we are relating to at that time. And so, God damn it, I'm just so happy we got this to do. Is that a short enough answer for you? I hope you got that all on one 90-minute cassette there.
Look, man, I admire you, because my only option is to do comedy on Zoom at the moment, and I'm just not interested in doing it. I can't. I just, for me, it's a live audience or it's nothing. It's not happening, basically. I'm full of admiration for you. Two questions.
It's nice because in what we're doing, in it just not being Mordred playing live, we were able to have a comedian do a bit, come down, MC the whole thing. We're employing other people that would otherwise be sitting home with nothing to do, and we realize that we're so lucky that we have this show, because there's really nothing else we could do right now. There's no place to play, and there's nothing to do, and we are just so lucky that we have it, and so happy. And of course, we're just putting our energy and our best ideas into it. And geez, H, I'd love to have you do some stuff on this, even in helping write some bits or do anything like that, because bro, you're a funny ass motherfucker. All right,
I'll tell you what, I'll be more than happy to come on and recycle some of my rock and roll stories from your I'm more than happy to do that. I'll tell you some tales of running through Germany, smashing shit up with Dark Angel.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want. I want to hear all about that.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah, just let me know. And finally, well, we'll add comedy to this as well, because Robbie's last question is: which metal and non-metal artists, both music, and non-music, he's got us covered, would you
Yeah.
like to have on the bill? So,
I'm sorry, I just missed.
Music, non-music. He's basically saying, who would you like?
Just you got to repeat the last bit because you cut out for a second. So.
Sorry. Okay. Which metal and non-metal artists, both music and non-music, would you like to have on the bill?
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay, metal and non-metal. Well, I
and
would.
Non-music as well. Non-music as well.
And non-music. Okay,
I
got you. Well, we are actually having somebody that I wanted that non-music, Zandora LeVay, on our next show. So that was something that I was waiting for, to see if we could get her on, and she's on. So that's Anton LaVey, the Satanic Church's granddaughter. And so that's the non-music thing that I was happy to get on there. And as far as like who's my dream like non-heavy metal band to come on, would probably be like Larry Graham or Sly Stone, something like that. Maybe Rusty Allen with some kind of group, and I'd love to be able to play with these guys. Best for the metal thing, that's kind of hard to say because I'm such good buddies with all these metal bands that I'm afraid if I said the wrong one that they might come and rat pack me.
Well, just say Iron Maiden.
There's a room. What? No, Iron Maiden's not my favorite. Definitely not. Oh, okay. So I get all time, living or dead.
Well, fuck it. Why not?
Yeah.
Let's take Robbie's question and run with it. Okay. It's now longer. It's not his question anymore. It's our question, and we're going to live.
I like it. So for me, I would like to have Thin Lizzy as my metal act. My all-time favorite metal act is Thin Lizzy, and I know they came from rock, and then maybe metal developed in name, but they were definitely a big part of it for me and a huge influence. And I still listen to them all the time. I don't do that with all the metal bands, but with Thin Lizzy, I listen to them all the time. And I mean,
comedy, me.
Oh, of course, H. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get you over here. It's not the safest place to be right now, and I'm not sure they'd let you back home after you've been here, but we'd love to have you, dude. As soon as they lift this shit, we're gonna get you over as our MC and comedian.
Seriously, man, I'll tell you what. I'm more than happy to come on and tell one of my stories and do it over Zoom. I don't mind doing that. So you just you let me know.
Absolutely, of course, I want you to do that, man.
Cool, man. Cool. Right. More questions. Don't think you're getting away anytime soon. Scott Bamford says, I'm enjoying the new music. A few years ago, you had an album ready to record, but your drummer fell off a roof when doing a roofing job. I take it he is fine and well and made a good recovery? ?
Yes. He actually fell off the roof. This is true. He fell off the roof and hurt himself pretty badly. And it was about 3 or 4 weeks before we were set to go on tour. Right. And we didn't think he was going to be able to go. We had these days booked and we were going to do this recording and whatnot. But we didn't even think he was going to be able to make it on the tour. And he, through the power of his mind and the wonder of, pain medication, was able to actually do the whole tour as beat up as he was. So that was a pretty dark period. And I remember when it happened, it was real scary. And his wife called me first and told me what happened. And I had to, figure out what to do and everything. And anyhow, what are you doing, man?
I'm plugging in because if I don't plug in, my laptop's gonna pack up on me.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, you must be like, what the fuck's he doing?
No, dude, it looked kind of crazy. I was just like, it was a little distracting, brother. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I know. And you know what? I thought, oh, you know what? Scott's a professional. He'll just be able to paddle through. But you know,
I was
I knew,
dog paddling, man.
yeah, absolutely. I knew you'd be able to cope with it.
I'm back. It's like that Liv Tyler moment when she's acting and she's like, she gets this look on her face. And they're just like, wait for it. She's gonna come back, and she's like, and then I go, says her line. It's a pregnant pause.
Yes, that's it. Well,
Giving birth to the greatness of what we are saying, right?
Well, look, I'm with you now. I promise you. Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you now, brother. And after that, he said, "Look, hope you can tour in 2021. Called both previous Glasgow performances, first at King Tut's and the second at Audio." And he says, come to Glasgow and don't come in August. I love it. Yeah, don't come the day the sun's out. Now, this is from Old Head, who is, I don't know if you know Old Head, the Old Head podcast. He's a fellow podcaster.
I know he is.
You do? Okay. Well, he's a patron of the show, and Old Head's question is, what are your thoughts on The Next Room? Could you shed some light on that time period for you personally? I think it could have been a great album if only they had the right vocalist. Winky face emoji.
Well,
by the way, I'm just going to grab a glass of water, so please do answer the question. I will be back.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Oldhead. By the way, I do appreciate your kind words on your reviews and all that. What I would say is I should listen to that album first before I answer this question. I've actually never heard it before. It was kind of a sore subject with me for a while. And I think, maybe in 2020, I could get around to actually putting it on and having an opinion on it. I can say that some of those songs were written and partially by me and with different lyrics that were maybe substituted or, when they got the new singer, they put some other words over some songs there that I was partially writing. So yeah, of course it would have been better if old Scotty Boy was on it, but I don't know. I feel bad for that singer because, I don't know. I'm terrible at answering that question, bro.
No. Do you know what? I was going to say exactly the opposite. I was going to say, I really like that line that you said. I wish I'd listened to it enough to have an opinion on it, which I think is really, that's basically, it's a statement of fact. There are, there are no emotions here. There are only these facts.
Well, there are old emotions because that was a kind of a difficult time, and so it's a very legitimate question. But the thing is that I still have not even ever listened to it. I've never heard one lick of one song on there. Only reason I know that they use some of my material is that other people told me. My brother-in-law mixed the record for him. How about that?
Right, okay.
But those times were long ago, and those boys saw the error of their ways and came, and when it was time to play again, of course, who the hell's going to sing like Scotty but Scotty? So, but now the funny thing is, it's funny about this subject. I had only started thinking about this the other day. Is the fact that I love doing this Mordred Acting the Fool show so much, right? I'm having such a good time that I don't want to run out of songs before I run out of ideas and material for the show, right? So I actually thought in my mind, true story, I'm going to listen to that old record that they did without me and see if there's any material on there that I could sing and put on the Acting the Fool show, just to lengthen the joy of having that dang show because we're not really into recycling songs,
Yeah. I think that'd be really cool. And also I think it's like, you yeah, whatever you do with it, I think, you know, you recognize in it as part of the band's history that you might not have been part of it, but it's still a part of the band's history, and it shows that, like, you know, you're cool with it. And more importantly, be interesting to see if there is something in there.
Yeah, you got me thinking, man. And I look at it this way. There was another singer of Mordred before myself back in 1984 and 85. I didn't get in until like November of 1986. So they
Right.
had already played shows and done some recordings. And there's songs on our first record that were written by Steve Skates, who was the original singer in Mordred back in 84 and 85.
Right.
And he must feel that same kind of way, you know, like, oh, my band, my baby. And then here's this other dude coming in singing my songs. Now, it was a little different because he had left the band and Scotty got sacked. So there's a little difference there. I think that might have been where the soreness and the slap on the ass with a bare hand came from. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sorry,
I'm old now. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna listen to it, see if there's anything I could take off there.
well, absolutely, and report back on it as well, please.
Yeah, I sure will. And thank you for the question there, old head. I appreciate it.
Right, now, Scott Bamford. This is quite a long tribute to start with, so start blushing early. How does it feel to be a pioneer in the crossover field? Like Stuck Mojo and Urban Dance Squad, you created a new sound and had a DJ in the band and a full decade before Slipknot and Linkin Park popularized it in rock music. But who inspired you and the Mordred sound? If Mordred had been a band in the 90s, you would have been huge. So lots of kudos and appreciation. And,
well, thank you very much for all that.
And whenever I get called,
his question would be, you know, what was our inspiration to?
Yeah, who inspired you and the Mordred sound? So I guess he wants your personal inspirations and the band inspirations, really.
Well, I'd start with saying, Metallica and Exodus and Legacy and the local thrash bands of the time were probably the biggest influence on us at the time. But we riding skateboards, and we had a lot of different, how am I going to put it? We had a lot of different influences from a lot of different directions because we didn't just listen to metal. I went to high school with the Primus guys and the Possessed guys. Actually, one of the guys was in both bands. And so I was hearing,
Larry.
I'd go see Primus, and they'd play with the Chili Peppers and the Old Faith No More and all this kind of stuff. So that stuff was definitely going on during that time, and would have been some sort of an influence. Also, believe it or not, like The Cure and Public Image Limited and a lot of the like Amoebics and Antisect and Conflict and a lot of British punk bands of the late 70s and the very, very early 80s. Joy Division was huge. I know it's kind of weird to think about it in Mordred to be influenced by them, but David Bowie was a huge influence. And then Sly and the Family Stone, Larry Graham, all that kind of stuff. We were really the JBs, which the James Brown backup band, Average White Band. There was a lot of that kind of stuff because at the time there was a resurgence in that because hip hop was using samples from all of these old, really great, records and stuff. So we were getting turned on to some of these songs through Ice-T Power and through these hip hop records that were coming out. Public Enemy was probably our favorite until NWA, and then of course that one was our favorite. But Public Enemy did that was a very, very, very big influence on us because we were, we really agreed with the, social political message that they were delivering with a hard fucking edge. And so I'd say like the biggest influences probably were like for Mordred was like Ice-T and Public Enemy on that side, probably Sly Stone and like Larry Graham, Graham Central Station, the JBs on that side. And of course, you know, Exodus, Metallica, Testament, you know, the Violence, especially. We played with Violence all the time back in the day. Forbidden Evil. You know, we were lucky enough that we grew up with, and all these guys are the same age as me, and we hung out together, and it was a great time to be playing. But at the same time, we couldn't. We were interested in sort of expanding because we were able to play other things, and we wanted to see and show that we could play these other things with a very heavy foundation from coming out of like thrash metal is basically where we came out of. Yeah. And so it's been a fun ride, and I wouldn't do it any other way. I know that you know, it did sort of take off the sort of style that we pioneered did sort of take off maybe like 10 years later. But that's cool. People get around to it sooner or later.
Well, have you ever heard of a British band called Censor?
Oh no, I haven't. Censor, right. Like Sensibilia?
Well, Senser.
Oh, Censor. Actually, yeah. I've heard the name. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will send you a link. Download the album. The album's called Age of Panic. I'll send you a link. Download it and have a listen to see what you think. Okay. It's not Mordred, you know. It's not. It's actually it's like a prototype for Limp Bizkit, except done by urban London with an urban London rapper and also a female vocalist as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds good, man. Send it over. I'd love it.
Do you know what? I think I think it'd be, and honestly, if you like it, you'll then do some digging, and you won't believe how old the album is that I'm sending you. It's like way early 90s.
Oh, okay.
But
we should have played with them.
yeah, absolutely. But it's funny when you're talking about all the thrash metal and everything there. And I was thinking that, you know, that's an awesome time to be around, an amazing scene to be part of. But also, I have to tell you that for me, In This Life is your best album. I absolutely fucking love it. I have the CD single, don't make me go and get it, of SM Quam Vedere.
Yes.
Because I love what you did with the single mix. It's just fucking great. And I'm honestly, I'm a huge fan of that record. I mean, it kicks huge amounts of ass, dude. It really does, to this very day.
It doesn't matter how big your ass is; it's getting kicked by that record, ain't it?
Absolutely. You could have no ass, and it would still
long back with a crack. It's still getting kicked.
Absolutely, you know, those bony motherfuckers whose legs just go straight into their back and they have no ass, they're still getting their ass kicked.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, I still love playing the songs from that record. In fact, just the other night, I was playing some songs from that record. And I still love singing it. And, you know, it's funny when you look back on things that you've done. I know you've done records and you look back on them and you think about it. And I love that record and I love that time. And if I was at the singing ability that I'm at now, it's almost like I want to re-record that record again and with the abilities I have now. But, you know, at the time we were just same as like what we're doing now. We were just winging it. We're like, there was nothing like what we were doing, nothing even close. And we just were like, let's just do the ideas. Like we wouldn't throw out ideas. We'd be like, you wanna put that on there? And be like, well, fuck it, let's try it. Let's see what happens.
Well, but this is why our early records sounded, you know, pretty rough and ready as well. because it's like people think, oh yeah, you know, production was shit back in those days. No, it wasn't. Go and listen to other music from around that time. It sounds fucking amazing. The reason what we're doing is because nobody knew what to do with it because nobody had produced anything like this before.
Yeah, that's very true. And it, you know, it's funny because now that we're older and we're doing this stuff, people are comparing what we're doing to like a lot of stuff that came after us, but that's the only way they could wrap their head around our sound. And at the time, they really, journalists and, you know, even like some people in general had a hard time wrapping their head around all the different sort of things that we were doing with our sound there. And, you know, Jesus Christ, I got 21 messages from one thread in the band and 16 from another, just in the time I've been talking to you.
Right, well, mate.
21 messages, 21.
Well, look, the good news is that the very last question from Carl, you've already answered there, really, because it is, what are your influences with regard to you rapping, your rapping song style, and also clean singing styles? Is there anybody that
I would only elaborate on that as to Rakim would be one of my favorite rappers, and then also KRS-One. His content, his style, of course, but his content is very influential. And Chuck D, of course, is just the, you know, to me, the best sounding, you know, voice in hip hop, you know, today and ever. And then Tupac, of course, you know, those for that style. And then, you know, I already laid down a few of the groove masters that I learned from.
You did.
And, you know, of course, Rusty Allen and Larry Graham, and these are all bass players, but Larry Graham's a singer too. And I actually sang with Larry Graham, If You Want Me to Stay, you know that song?
Oh, yeah.
And he had all the Sly and the Family Stone. He had Freddie Stone on the guitar, and he had Rose Stone, and they were doing a gig, and I got up on the stage and sang the song. And that's like one of the highlights of my life, was singing the song with Larry Graham and all those guys. It was like a dream come true, H. I can't tell you how I felt. Absolutely. I was like such a nerd fanboy. And I did my little verse, and I was ready to get off the stage, and Larry turns around and goes, hey, man, you're going to kick it for the rest of the song. I'm like, but everyone's lined up. They were ready to do their verse. He's like, you're going to sing the rest of the song. And I was like, damn, good thing I know it. I don't even know all the lyrics to the Mordred songs. Luckily, I knew that one.
I know what you mean, mate. I know what you mean. Look, it's been an absolute pleasure, Scott. Thank you so much.
Yeah, pleasure's all mine. Thanks for having me, H.
Absolute pleasure, dude. You go and answer those messages, man. Take care. Good luck with everything. And I'll send you a link to Age of Panic.
That's great. And I just appreciate you having me on anytime. Just hit me up, brother.
Will do. Cheers, mate.
All right.
Take care.
Brother. Bye, everyone.
Cheers.
Mordred loves you.